First,
Yeah.
figure out who you really are. What do you stand for? If you haven't done that work, if you don't know what your values are, what image you want to project, and how close is that image to who you truly are, right? And I'm not saying wear your heart on your sleeve, because that is actually another mistake of bonus number 4, is
Yeah.
people overspill.
Welcome, badass entrepreneurs. It's time to hear the world's movers, shakers, and difference makers spill their secrets for unlimited success. So strap in, for Badass Entrepreneurs Only begins now. Greetings, badass entrepreneurs. I am Coach Dan Gordon, and welcome to For Badass Entrepreneurs Only. Today, I am thrilled with our guest, Julz Vitality. So we're just going to jump right in. Julz is a brand visibility and exposure mentor serving conscious entrepreneurs. She says visibility trumps ability, and her key talk is visibility through highly converting social media profiles. She educates her audience on organic social media marketing strategies, client interaction, and PR for lead generation. Julz Vitality, welcome to For Badass Entrepreneurs Only.
Thank you so much, Coach Dan. My pleasure to be here with our audience.
So the thing that you talk about that I love and that I share with all of my clients is being interesting has become more important than anything. And I think that's what you're referring to when you're saying visibility trumps ability. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Absolutely. If you are super talented, have lots of certificates on the wall, but are the best kept secret, best kept secret is sometimes super cool because people can share you in the whisper behind the scenes. However, that would be a slow game, right? And then imagine somebody who maybe not the most talented, not the most skilled, but just knows how to entertain the crowd and knows how to speak in an engaging manner and ask the questions that make you think. You will automatically be drawn to that person. You will not need to see the billion certificates on their wall or, learn where they went to school and, how many years of experience they had. You will just automatically want to connect with them because you will have something in common with them. They will have stimulated something in your mind that will be like, yeah, I love this person. I want to know more about them. And I just want to be in their world. You want to follow this person. That's what being an influencer is all about. Why do you click that follow button, right? Think about it. If you want to be that influencer, think about why would people click on your follow button?
Being popular is really important today. And it's not just being popular, it's being popular and being good. But being known, being interesting, being popular has to be first. The best business coach ever is the night manager at Foot Locker, right? And the worst one has a mansion on the Pacific Coast Highway. And why, right? Because the one on the Pacific Coast Highway is interesting and knows how to sell.
Oh, you just tapped into something that a lot of people here probably will have some resistance to.
Oh,
right? They know how to sell. And it has a good connotation and a bad connotation. There are a lot of bad coaches out there. There are a lot of people who sell and don't fulfill or lie or lack integrity. But we're not going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about doing it with all the integrity that you can offer the world, making a positive impact in the world on a larger scale with the skills and abilities that you own.
Absolutely. And so right now, you who are listening are making 3 big mistakes when it comes to social media. Julz, tell us what those 3 mistakes are.
All right. First one, again, if it doesn't apply to you, great, congratulations. But the one I see the most in my clients is their photo on their social media profiles. And let me talk to you a little bit about that. First of all, often it is unrecognizable. So you book a call with someone who you see on their social media and they arrive and you're like, who is this? Okay. Not only was their picture 5 years old or older, they had possibly different hair color. Okay. Maybe they had a filter that made them completely unrecognizable. Or maybe they simply had different pictures on their different social media profiles, or maybe even their website. And you were just not sure who you were going to meet on the call or who you were going to guest on the podcast of. So that is definitely something that I'd say impacts your online image negatively. Okay.
Hmm.
And people think, oh, maybe I can't afford a professional photographer. I don't know. Maybe I'm not that good looking, or whatever excuses you might have. Turn on your iPhone or whatever it is, smartphone camera. Okay. Have some good lighting, best if it's daylight,
Yeah.
and take a bunch of selfies. Don't make silly faces. Look professional, dress professional for those photos, ideally in colors that would match your brand colors. Okay. And take those pictures. You can do slight editing on any free software like Canva,
Yeah.
brighten it up, so you don't have shadows under your eyes, and post them on all of your profiles so that you have the same exact recognizable image all over your social media. When you apply for podcasts, that's the photo you submit. When you show up on any events, that's the photo you submit, and try to look similar on every one of your online appearances, including your own online content. Today, I'm wearing yellow. It
Yeah.
is one of my brand colors. My primary brand color is red. So people remember me as a lady in red. And that is totally fine because that is the image I want to create. It just happens to be my favorite color, but it doesn't have to be your favorite color. It could be a color that resonates with what you do. For example, Coach Dan has purple, which is traditionally associated with spirituality,
There
right?
you go.
So it is absolutely a great match. Now, so that was mistake number one. I think I actually covered a lot of these mistakes right there. So
Okay.
being
So,
inconsistent
right.
between platforms
Oh, I
is
love
is
it. Right.
is a
Yeah.
second mistake. And having different name on different platforms, sometimes using your business name, sometimes using your first and last name, sometimes also putting your middle name, sometimes using different spelling of your names, sometimes using your social tag. It
Mm.
confuses people. If you are omnipresent on social media and online in general, make sure you're consistent in all of
Okay.
that.
All right. So I'm very excited because I have the first two, right? What's the third mistake, right? We have
This
photos
Yes.
and a good photo and consistency. What's the third one?
The third one is content.
Hmm.
And what I would like to just ask you a question about, when you are on social media and you are scrolling through your feed and you see somebody consistently posting their daily life, they're taking their dog for a walk, they're cooking, this and that. What do you associate them with? A friend, right? Another person that is in your circle that is like on your friend list. Okay.
Yes.
However, if you see somebody posting motivational content, quotes, books they're reading, something related to educating their audience about an issue or how to deal with something, a resource, a tip, they automatically become an authority. You look
Mm.
forward to their content as somebody who's teaching you something, helping you, inspiring you, motivating you. Automatically, that is filed in our brain as a professional image.
Mm.
Yes, sometimes they may put in an image of them on vacation or in a restaurant and having crab and lobster or whatever, right? But why are they doing that? They're showing you the lifestyle that they're leading because of the business they're in,
Mm.
right? Or like I'm a huge advocate of location independence. So I love content that showcases that because it is one of my values. Freedom is one of my values.
Hmm.
So I'm not saying if you are online as a business or as a personal brand, don't put personal content out there, but make
Yeah.
sure it's relevant to either who you are as an individual, a business owner, what your brand stands for, what you inspire your audience to achieve,
Hmm.
right? Or some of the values that it demonstrates about you. Do not put content that is irrelevant because it
Mm.
confuses people. It's a mixed message. It detracts from what you stand for. So make sure you have a core set of values, core content pillars. You choose one or two to lead with. In case some of you don't know what those are, it's entertainment, education, inspiration, the
Mm.
three basic ones,
Okay.
right? So if you want to entertain with the poop your dog left on the sidewalk, that's fine. Maybe you're a dog walker or maybe
Yeah.
you're a comedian that would suit your content. However, if you are, for example, a business coach, that would be relevant unless you somehow relate it to your business. For example, you can say, everybody makes a blooper.
Uh-huh.
right? I teach people how to embrace being imperfect and yet continue with running their business, right?
Right.
So you can really turn any piece of personal content into something that's relevant to your brand. But if you
Mm.
simply just start dumping stuff out there without a strategy, without an image you want to project, you'll start losing people, or they will just take your entertainment value for what it is, and you will never convert them into customers.
Yeah. And people think about social media as if it's this whole other thing, but really what I hear you saying is it's just your personality, right? Through all these, it's a lot of consistency. It's a lot of your personality, right? It's putting forth the idea, maybe even like sort of a hyper realistic version of who you are.
Yeah, but first
Yeah.
figure out who you really are. What do you stand for? If you haven't done that work, if you don't know what your values are, what image you want to project, and how close is that image to who you truly are, right?
Hmm.
And I'm not saying wear your heart on your sleeve, because that is actually another mistake. A bonus number 4 is
Yeah.
people overspill, right?
Yeah.
They overspill. Oh, I was in the. I'm sorry. I literally scroll down those posts. Okay, you're in the
Yeah.
hospital. Okay, you're sick. Okay, you broke a leg.
Right.
Well, I'm sorry for you, but what do you want me to do? I'm miles away from you. I'm on another continent. Are you looking for another heart? For another,
Yeah.
oh, I'm sorry. Is it going to
Yeah.
help you heal? I'm sorry. I'm so against this kind of content because, yes, we already know you're a human being and we already
Hmm.
know you're going to get sick. We already know life happens. You're going to lose somebody in death. You're going to have a breakup. Do not mix that stuff with your content to get people's
Mm.
pity, because that's all you're getting is their pity. It
Yeah.
doesn't help you make money. It doesn't help you become more human. Instead, after you're out of that hospital, maybe share it and say, hey, listen, I was in the hospital and this is what helped me get through the rough
Yeah.
times.
Or at the very least, be consistent. Like if you're in the hospital, say, hey, here's this cool thing that I learned. So it's not at all about the fact that you're sick. And I feel the same way. Like when I see on LinkedIn and someone posts that their parent died, well, yeah, that's a tragedy, but on LinkedIn and really anywhere. I mean, it's a personal family matter. It's something that they're just doing for likes, and it's so unbelievably transparent.
And you can use a filter of, imagine working in a large office, coming into
Yeah.
the office. What is it that people see when you're coming into that office? Do you come in with a big sign, somebody died or I was sick, whatever? No, you just go to your desk and you
Right.
continue, right? You go to the business meetings, you do your job. Just like that, our business is in a way the job. We traded our job for a business, right? So we
Right.
in a way we're running our own company. So what would you want a CEO of the company where you work to
Mhm.
share, right? Yes, maybe when they're having some events or get-togethers, they may show a personal side of them. They may come with their spouse and their kids. You may see a bit of
Yeah.
preview of their personal life. You may know they're a human being, but they're not just gonna go and sit there and get a circle around them and start going, you know what? I love myself," right? So like
Right.
use common sense for
Yeah.
everybody to know. Everybody, because online is not just your followers, not just your friends. Everybody's
Yeah.
gonna, right? And somebody you can't take down. Just think
Mhm.
about that. You cannot take that down. Somebody could have screenshotted it. That's it. It's out there. So before you press post and publish, think about what does it say about you? Is it relevant to your business? Is it part of the image that you want to project?
So that's such great advice. And so in your business, and you can learn more about Julz at PR Julz, Julz, that's PRJULZ.com. Check her out, learn all about her. Let's say someone comes to you and says, Julz, I want to be an influencer, right? Now, people tend to refer to influencers as if they're another species of human being, right? Like, oh, this is an influencer, right? But they're just people, right? They breathe the same air that we do. How do you go? How would you take someone from being not an influencer to being an influencer? Two questions about that. Three. How long would it take? What would you do? How much would it cost?
Great questions. There are different levels of influence. I'd say anybody who is not ready to be a leader is not ready to be an influencer. To be an influencer means you, first of all, are visible, you accept the spotlight, and you accept the
Hmm.
responsibility that you have in leading the gang, the crowd, the following, the audience, right? And I find that if you come at that with the wrong why, you will not create positive impact. You will create a negative momentum.
What's an example of the wrong why?
The wrong why is, for example, wanting the fame. Some actors come
Ah,
that with,
okay.
just wanting the spotlight, just wanting to be
But isn't that what an
seen.
influencer is? Just like I want fame?
I wouldn't agree with that necessarily. There are a lot
Yeah.
of famous people who are not influencers,
Uh-huh.
and there are also a lot of famous people who are. For example, if you can think of The Rock,
Yeah,
he came on to fame as an actor,
sure.
right? However, right now he's also a motivational speaker. He shares what helped him achieve his level of success. Same with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He
Yeah.
became an actor before he became a governor, before he wanted to create a positive impact. Now he's a motivational speaker, and one of his latest books that I read was amazing. And
Mm,
it speaks to everybody, and it talks about being that self-leadership,
hmm.
self-accountability, and becoming an example and finding your purpose and leading that life of purpose. So when I talk about influencers that I create and that I
Yeah.
appreciate and I follow, I'm talking about people who have learned how to be authentic, who have found their mission and purpose
Mm,
in life, and who are pursuing it unapologetically through failures. Okay.
yeah.
And they automatically create a movement and a crowd that wants to follow them because there's that authenticity cannot be replaced with fakeness. And being an actor implies that, right? So there are entertainers. So entertainers are influencers as well. We have a lot of actors, singers, Oprah, all people like that who are
Yeah.
influencers. However, when we get to know them on a personal level, that's when we decide, do I want to be like them or not? Do I just want to be
Mm.
in their world? Do I just want to go to their concert? Or do I actually want to mimic and learn from them, right? Opera has so much depth. It's not just her fame, it's also who she is and what she's gone through and how she empowers other individuals, not just women, to embrace that journey.
And I love that you brought up The Rock, right? Because here's somebody who started as a wrestler, which is, look, for if you're looking at inspirational people, it's probably the bottom of the ladder, right? These are people who are very much hyper realistic versions of human beings, right? And we know it's not real. So now he goes from being a wrestler to being an actor to now being somebody who is making a positive impact in people's lives. So, we can really see the evolution of his journey about what's important to him. And to your point about really knowing why you want to be an influencer, I think we can see that in him, right?
Yeah. And just like with Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Yeah,
you may think, right? Like, again, he came from bodybuilding. You may think bodybuilding is a vain kind of fame, right?
sure.
But the interesting thing is that what he talks about now is that's what taught him discipline. That's what taught him
Hmm.
consistency. That's what taught him how to work through setbacks, to learn new skills, to associate with people who are a step ahead. He utilized his development as an athlete and put it into the world of business and personal
Right.
development, right? So again, that journey is so much more impactful because he doesn't just stop at, hey, you can grow muscle. He,
Hmm.
he talks about growing the mental muscle, the resiliency, right? The dedication to your goals. And again, the example that he set in transformation that he's led others through teaching that, and how some kids who were not able to lift a 1 liter bottle of water, and
Yeah.
then as he took them through some exercises and they were able to lift a certain amount of weight, how it gave them the amount of confidence and self-confidence
Hmm.
that was so transformational that even though he achieved it through physical activity and fitness, that is a mindset shift that he created.
Okay. And I know what you who are listening right now are thinking. That's great for these people who already are out there in the world. They already have a big following, super easy for them to be influencers, or a lot easier than someone who isn't that, right? And let's say someone is thinking, all right, I want to be an inspirational influencer, right? But like, what are they going to do? Because it's like, it's all out there, right? There is no level of inspiration that isn't already out there. How do they find their niche? So they're like, okay, this person, not that person, but this person, I like what they're about. How do you separate yourself out as an influencer?
Great question. There's so much that goes into it. It's not an overnight success.
Yeah.
As you said, there's lots of stuff out there, right? There's
Hmm.
lots of YouTube channels and Instagram pages and you name it, websites, right? So many inspirational speakers, so many books. You look at chapters, you look at Indigo, the traditional bookstores, and then you look at Amazon now, the bookshelves are covered in inspirational authors, right? Who are also speakers and available to speak. So I'd say the world is changing from the global influencer level to community influencer. And all you need is your
Interesting.
own little tribe.
Yeah.
Okay. You need your own following, your own little tribe. And there are a lot of different ways to achieve that.
Hmm.
First of all, when you're just entering the online space or the space where you want to be seen and visible, there are already lots of platforms that have gathered audiences and people who will gladly consume your content. So one of the strategies I teach to my community is use other people's stages, other people's platforms, right? Such
Yeah.
as Facebook communities, such as events, such as networking groups, networking events online, and just be yourself. However, also always leave a virtual business card, right? Like in the traditional space, when we would network, we'll just say, "Hey, you want to keep in touch? Here's my card or scan my
Right.
QR code," right?
Yeah.
If you do not invite people into your world will not grow. So it
Mm.
does take leadership in order for you to grow your community. So every time you show up, you say, "Hey, listen, I have a community. Come and join us." And you share that invitation. My community is Positive Impact Circle. You can go and search for it on Facebook. And I welcome people who resonate with our messages here to come and join us and become a content creator in that community and speak to 2,000 more people about what you can motivate them with. And that's another step that often people don't take. They go and show up and join the groups and, attend the events, but they don't make that offer,
Mm.
the offer for others to join their world.
Gotcha. Yeah, right. And there's what I call the three silent killers of success, right? Sleep, stress, and productivity. Now, badass entrepreneurs never get enough sleep. We all have way too much stress, and that puts our productivity in the crapper. I found something that beats the silent killers. It's a technology that lives on your phone. Now, I know this sounds crazy, but it's sound waves that put your brain into states of relaxation and focus. Now, when I first heard about this, I just thought it was bullshit, right? But then I heard that this company, they're called Nucalm, Nucalm. Nucalm is being used by the Army, by U.S. Special Forces, the FBI, professional football teams, pilots, surgeons are using Nucalm instead of anesthesia. And what's his name? Tony Robbins just jumped on board with Nucalm, right? So I thought, at the very least, I got to try this. So I downloaded the app, I put it on my phone, and it just sounds like music. But oh my God, after one session, I was on fire. 20 minutes of Nucalm was like 2 cups of coffee. And then on the other side, I use Nucalm at night, and it puts me out like a light. I wake up in the morning, shot out of a cannon. Now, if you want a free week of Nucalm, it's super simple. Just text the word CALM, CALM, to this number, 213-409-8366. 213-409-8366, and text the word CALM, CALM. Get more sleep, feel less stress, and blow your productivity out of the water. Just text CALM, CALM, to this number, 213-409-8366, and get a free week of Nucalm. Free. Okay, so sorry for going off like this. I'm just super fired up about it. Let's get back into this. So there has to be a reason then for someone to want to join the community, and I think also a reason why they want to stay in it.
Absolutely.
What are those things?
It's the value you bring to the world. It's your mission. It's your purpose. If you don't have it yet, they're not going to come, right? So you, again, that authenticity that I mentioned that comes first, figuring out who I am. What value do I generate in this world? What legacy do I want to leave? What impact do I want to make? What is my big vision? Where are we going? Is it that you want to motivate people? Then show up as a person who motivates people. And first of all, who motivates yourself. Right? So I, for example, share a lot of content about how I work on my self-leadership, my routines, my consistency. When I slip, what do I do to get back? When I go on vacation and come back and it's a Monday morning and I'm at the gym and I can't get myself to work out, I share that. because I make an effort to be consistent. And I know a lot of people are also making that effort. So speaking the language of your audience, speaking to their fears, to their challenges, and helping them overcome, grow with them, being a step ahead of them, or even a step behind them and say, hey, can you help me out?
Mm.
I've dropped out of my fitness routine. What does everybody here do to get back on track?
Yeah.
Right? Enable people to share, empower them to lead. A community is not just a passive tribe of a flock of cows that are following you mindlessly, right? These are like-minded individuals. We all have value. So make them feel like they have value, invite them to contribute, help them, showcase them
Yeah.
on your platforms, right? Offer them that platform to communicate, to be visible, to share their content. And when they feel appreciated and when
Mhm.
they feel like they can contribute and also help others grow, iron sharpens iron. We all
Yeah.
grow together, right? And that creates a sense of belonging.
Right. And what I hear you saying is you're going to develop as you do this, right? Like you don't just start in one space and end up in the same space, right? You learn and grow and evolve as you've been. Look, I've been doing daily videos that I post on LinkedIn. And over the past 30 days, they've really evolved, right? This is a challenge that I set for myself. And I look back at the first ones, I'm like, it was okay, but the message is a lot clearer. It's a lot more succinct, and it's a little less about business and more about personal development and pushing oneself. And that just sort of evolved almost by itself over time and really have something to say, like have something to offer, right?
You touched on a great point. If you
Yeah.
want to follow somebody as an influencer, learn more about them. The public image, the online image, it's often fake.
Yeah.
And that's not what we're promoting when we're talking about influencer. We're talking about your authentic image, doing it with integrity. However, obviously, a warning, without having to say it, investigate who you're following.
Yeah. Okay. And so how long would it take for someone to become an influencer? And how much money should they expect to spend in this process?
The underlying question is, why do you want to be an influencer and what is the goal?
Mm,
Is it just to
yeah.
have a certain number of followers? Is it to sell your book? Is it to grow to a certain size? Is it to then run ads to your audience? Maybe, have affiliate partnerships now that you
Yeah.
have a certain following. So you kind of have to have a strategy, right? If you're doing this for business, you need to have a strategy on how do you want to monetize being an influencer and
Hmm.
why, right? So for example, if you are starting a YouTube channel and you are hoping to make money on the views, then you need to worry about hitting the threshold that YouTube sets for you. And then you're going to start getting 8 cents per 1,000 views. Is
Mm,
that the amount of money you want to make? Do you also have, let's say, a book or a coaching program that you're selling the back end? Then the strategy becomes different. You share something of value and then you invite people to come into your world. And when they're in your world, or maybe right off the screen, you say, hey, I'm also a coach and I'm also have a coaching program. Join me in my coaching, right? So you
mm,
don't have to grow super big and meet all these milestones that YouTube sets for you. You can have 100 subscribers. You can have 1,000 people watching your video. And out of the 1,000 people, some of them are going to come into your world and become your clients. You're going to make money. So
yeah.
it depends on the overall business model, on the strategy, whether you have digital products or not, whether your conversion mechanism is a one-on-one call or they buy straight from your website. It is a big picture. And I often do that for people, visibility strategies. Based on your business model, what are visibility platforms, visibility methods, and do you even have to be an influencer in order for you to make money? Or is it just to stroke your ego?
And clearly, if it is, you're probably not going to be successful, right? Again, the ego stroking influencer, it's already locked up, right? Don't try to be that. It isn't just a matter of time and money because you can make money along the way, right? As you invest yourself into this, you're going to be offering people things. Some of it's going to work, some of it won't, most won't, right? The amount of time it takes to get there is the amount of time that you invest in getting there. Would that be accurate?
Yes, and it's also understanding the tools, the strategies, and the platforms. They're all,
Okay.
all different. Everybody's
Right.
business model is different. You may get to a high number of TikTok viewers, for example, in a
Hmm.
relatively short time, but is it going to make a dent in your bottom line? Right?
Yeah.
Or you can start DMing people on Facebook and not have a large number of followers, and you can land some business that way, right?
Hmm.
So it all depends on your overall goal. If you want to just get high numbers, you can run promos, you can pay for ads, you
Yeah.
can pay for very cheap ads if literally all you want is for people to have more exposure to your content, or if you want to fill an event or whatever. It is a very varied landscape. It all depends on why you're doing it, what you're selling. Are you selling anything? Are you just stroking your ego? Also, I would look at it as in the overall business landscape, your level of influence or your numbers of,
Hmm.
let's say your following or your group or your email list, they add to your credibility. So we talked about visibility, right? This is your credibility. So now, how do you use that credibility? Besides monetizing it, how do you use it? When you are establishing new joint ventures and partnerships and collaborations, those numbers become the evidence of your value,
Yeah.
right? So by building up those numbers, even though maybe you haven't benefited from them financially, now that you're using other strategies and developing maybe, affiliate partnerships, for example,
Hmm.
right? Somebody's going to want to work with you and have you promote them on your channels, or they want to speak on your channels in exchange for you speaking on theirs, right? It becomes a digital currency.
Yeah.
Your numbers in the online space are the currency these days. It's a social currency.
Okay. And so there's a lot to it, right? You can't in just this short period of time give someone the recipe for becoming an influencer, online leader. It really is some granular investigation. And I know that's what you do really well. So look, if you want to get in touch with Julz, go to PRJulz, PRJulz.com. There's a tremendous amount of great information on, like, before you have to pay her a cent. You're going to learn a ton on that website. Last thing I want to talk about is, look, a number of years ago, I was on Facebook and I saw a lot of, grandmothers posting pictures of their grandchildren. And I realized Facebook is no longer the hip, young platform. What is the killer platform right now? Like, what's the platform that someone who really wants to dive into this should be paying attention to?
Great question. And again, there is no one answer. It
Yeah.
all depends on who consumes the content on that platform and whether that is a match with your ideal audience. And you're right. For example, if your audience is a retired population, then Facebook is great. However, there are also a lot of grannies who consume content on TikTok, right? Or on YouTube Shorts. So what I find, even among my friends, in-person friends who are of the same generation, they each have their platform of choice, their
Mm,
platform where they go and look for stuff. For example, where is something going on locally? What restaurant should we go to? And they just automatically go to YouTube and they look for YouTube. And they come up with
mm,
YouTube shorts that have a review of that restaurant, right? There are some people that automatically go and do a search on Facebook. There are people that go on Google. There are people who go on TikTok.
hmm.
Okay. So it depends on the person's browsing behavior, and that keeps changing. I would kind of flip that and say, what platform do you consume the most content on? Because you will most likely be inclined to use that platform to create content more,
Right.
right? So, for example, I am a fan of short form video. In other
Hmm.
words, reels. Okay. Why? Because they are often offered to non followers. So it's free marketing to the audience who isn't already following you and your followers, obviously, as well. Okay. One piece of content, you can put it in multiple platforms, right? So if you want to be omnipresent, create that content on the platform that you enjoy the most and then widen out to these, as I mentioned, some of the equivalents where you can reuse your content. And then, if you do have some spare time to learn about any other platform, do that. Again, I mentioned my community positive impact circle. In the guides section right there are training videos on each
Mm.
platform. So you can go and learn about
Oh,
the
fantastic.
differences right there. And then what your profile should look like. and what content is acceptable and most effective on those platforms.
Julz, I really admire how much giveaways you do and how much you have to offer people without having to spend a dime with you. But if you're listening to this right now and thinking, man, Julz is making a lot of sense, and we've even barely scratched the surface, how can someone get in touch with you for your help?
Yeah, absolutely. So just right there on my website, prjulz.com, you will find some links to inquire about my services. You can get in contact with me right there, book a call. I promise you, I will give you at least 3 tips. I'll help you see how your life or business can benefit from being online. Where maybe you need to step back and where, what else would benefit you. If I have an opportunity to give you kind of like a high level roadmap for
Mm-hmm.
visibility, I will. And then we'll see if there is a match for us to work together. I have a weekly membership. Once a week, I coach my folks on whatever we just talked about here: visibility,
Yeah.
social media, being online, personal branding, business in general, mindset, right? And then I support them throughout the week. So if you
Mm.
guys need some sort of a community and a space where, again, consistency can take place
Yes.
and executing week after week, building your business, building your online brand, or becoming an influencer, you're welcome to come forward. It's less than a coffee a day. And I,
Yeah.
I love the community that I attract, people who are interested in growing, learning, implementing, and creating a greater impact in the world.
I love that. And look, you don't have to go all in with you right from the start, right? You can consume the free information. You can get involved in a community that's inexpensive. And then if you're like, okay, I want to hit it hard, then there's some one-on-one coaching opportunities. Do I have that right?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's also big stuff like PR shout outs.
Mm-hmm.
If you are either an influencer or on your way there, like all of your systems are ready, your website's ready, you're just ready to like start getting views on your content and start selling whatever you've got, then come forward. I do have a PR shout out service where we go to 200 plus mainstream outlets
Mm.
and we get millions of views on your content. So for those who are ready, come forward. We'll work on the stuff that will go out. I don't just accept any kinds of stuff. We'll make sure it's done
Yes.
strategically so we get the best bang for your buck. And again, that is relatively inexpensive. If you were to spend time pitching to news outlets or hiring a PR person who's going to pitch one by one, you're going to spend thousands of dollars. Right?
Mm.
We go 200 plus outlets and under $5,000. Okay. And it's
Wow.
done within days. You start
Wow.
getting those views within days. It's literally, if you want to explode, like I'm not joking. And
Yeah.
then afterward, what happens is my clients start getting other PR outlets reaching out to them, radio stations interviews, TV interviews, magazines, right? So be ready for that. So that's why I don't lead with that, and I don't offer that off the bat, because a lot of people need my coaching first. We need to get their stuff ready first in order for
Mhm.
them to go big. And that is definitely a recipe to be an influencer. But
Wow.
again, everything we talked about applies first. Okay. So let's not just go big with not having the foundation ready. The foundation is traditionally in everything you do in life. You need to create a
Mhm. So look, clearly you know what you're talking about. And I love this. And one of the greatest and I think undervalued ways of putting yourself out there is podcasting. It's what we're doing right now. And Julz has made an offer to give you the 10 things to do before, during, and after the podcast to maximize your conversion. And to get this really super valuable information, just text the name Julz, Julz, to this number, 213 409 8366. 213 409 8366. Text Julz, Julz, and get the 10 things to do before, during, and after the podcast to maximize your conversion. I've got to check this out because look, I'm always looking to up my podcast game, and I know you have something super valuable for me. So last words, Julz, what's something that somebody can do right now, today, to help them up their influence?
I'd say be omnipresent.
Mm.
If you already have content that's ready, you've written something, you've created videos, you've been a guest somewhere else, keep track of all this. Have like a little database of every podcast appearance that you've done,
Yeah.
and some of the posts that you're most proud of. And continue posting them to multiple platforms. It doesn't take you any time to create that because it's already there.
Mm-hmm.
People will get very partial preview of your content. So don't be afraid of repeating yourself. Okay? Even if you post the same post once a month, most likely different people will see it every month because different people engage with your content. Your audience changes, their browsing habits change. So even if you want to pre-schedule the same post once a month that you're most proud of, maybe your greatest interview you've done, make sure you do that. And support your podcasters, the ones that you've been guests to. Shout out their episodes to your audience. Send it to them in newsletters. Post it on all of your social media. It creates such a ripple effect. Not just grows your own credibility, right? It helps the podcaster. And every time you lead with reciprocity, you grow. If you compliment somebody, you're going to get a compliment back. If you comment on somebody, give them a like, they're going to give you a like back. So remember the principle of reciprocity.
And please share your podcast. What is it?
Same Positive Impact. That is the show that I have. Sometimes it gets dormant, but the episodes that are there are super valuable. Positive Impact TV and YouTube channel. A lot of my content is video. So Positive Impact TV on YouTube in the live tab or streams tab. That's where majority of my content is, and lots of premium masterclasses that you guys normally would pay thousands of dollars for from other coaches. You can access there for free.
I love it. So again, you can connect with Julz at prjulz.com. You can also download this great podcast success formula of hers. Just text her name, Julz, Julz, to 213-409-8366. 213-409-8366. Text Julz, Julz. Julz Vitality, this has been an honor. Thank you so much for being on for Badass Entrepreneurs Only. You are clearly badass. And for sharing everything that you did with my audience. Thanks, Julz.
It was my pleasure. Thank you, guys. And I hope that you learned something. And remember, at least one thing, commit to implementing.
Love it. Hey, one last thing. If you're feeling stuck in business life, wherever, download my book, Jumping the Gap, Kill Your Story and Take Action. In this book, you'll see how the stories that you tell yourself are stopping yourself from living your greatest life. Just text the word GAP, G-A-P, to this number, 213-409-8366. 213-409-8366, and text the word GAP. It's a short read, it's fun, it's easy, and if you hate reading like I do, you can grab the audiobook. It's at that same link. Just text the word GAP, G-A-P, to 213-409-8366. You'll love it. All right, that's it. Go out there and be badass today.